Hey, welcome back to Little Z Farm. I'm Katie. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I'm pretty passionate about. We've all heard that saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And honestly, nothing could be more true here on the homestead. When Eric and I decided to buy this property, we had no idea what we were doing. And honestly, we didn't know what we were going to do with the property. And over the past 5 years, even though we have not dedicated all the time in the world to building this, we have started to fulfill that dream piece by piece. We have been very blessed because as our family and friends have learned, what we're trying to build out here and what we're trying to grow and the things we're trying to do, they have kind of offered up some of their trash, essentially, because out here on the farm, trash to some people is really treasure. For anyone that knows me, I tend to be pretty thrifty. We have saved for certain projects and then tried to find things secondhand or recycled other people's trash to create our own treasures out here. Anyway, you gotta stop, buddy. I apologize, the cat is just relentless. Today, I'm talking about the top 5 things that our friends and family regularly contribute to our farm without any additional expense to them that is really helping us to thrive. Number 1, used coffee cans or coffee containers. It seems like a little thing, but we use these coffee cans as scoops for our feed for our animals. And we've been doing that essentially since we moved out here. I think Eric came home one day with a coffee can from his parents and we started using it for the chicken feed. But now we have many of them with many different animals. It's very convenient for us. They're also just easy to grab and I don't feel guilty about just tossing them in the barn if we're in a rush. Number 2, this is gonna seem pretty standard to most people. Pallets. You can do a lot with pallets, and pallet wood is not going to be appropriate for every project that you have on the farm, but you could do like we did and set up a compost area. You'll see here that we use pallets to construct this area so that we have a constant rotation when it comes to our compost. And the compost is really invaluable when it comes to gardening. You can also use pallets for a coop, like this. And this spring, our ducks will be getting a pallet deck for their pool that Eric will construct. We've also used pallets for random things like ramps into the duck and chicken coops, or to separate animals for a short amount of time. There are a million different things that you can do with pallets. So if someone says they have pallets to give away, we're there. The third thing that we're always happy to recycle for our friends and family, leaves and brush. I myself have never understood the idea of just removing all of the leaves and putting them in bags and getting rid of them. Out here, the leaves don't really bother me. They definitely bother Eric though, and just last week his dad was out here to get them all raked up or mowed over. So it was important to us before we did that we gathered enough leaves to minimally cover the bottom of the run. So for us, we use these leaves. Right now we are using them in the bottom of the chicken run, which is basically the chicken's all-time favorite bedding. And it's awesome because it works for the deep littering method that we use. So we'll take those leaves, we'll take brush. We have a wood chipper that we will take the brush and chip it up. Is chip it up the term for that? I don't think so, but I don't know what it is. We'll use the brush to create wood chips, which we use in the garden. So you have to think about these things that people would normally throw away and how beneficial they are for your homestead and for your space. These are things that are beneficial even if you just have a backyard chicken flock or you just have a small garden. Or you just have a small potted garden on the deck. Compost can be your best friend in the garden, and anything that can contribute to that is the fourth math. The fourth thing that we happily recycle for our friends and family, newspapers. So we use newspapers. We have been known to use newspapers in the garden. We use newspapers to prevent the growth of weeds around some of our vegetables. And last year we did not have a good supply of newspaper and it was kind of a sad day. Another thrifty way that we use newspapers is we create seedling pots from those newspapers, and it cuts back on some of the purchases that we make earlier in the season for gardening. And we start those seeds in those newspaper pots, and those are seedlings that we, if we don't plant, can eventually give away and give back to our friends and family who's contributed the newspapers to begin with. And that's a pretty good life cycle for a newspaper. And I know what you're thinking. Who reads newspapers these days? But trust me, they're out there. The fifth thing that we recycle from friends and family are egg cartons. And that was the first thing that people started giving to us when we moved out to the farm and got chickens. And listen, you do not need egg cartons to survive here. You can have chicken eggs without egg cartons, but it is convenient. We buy egg cartons when we sell them, but we reuse the recycled egg cartons for our own storage of eggs and also to give eggs to friends and family. When we had 30 laying hens, which is what we're building back up to now, we had a lot of eggs in the spring. Definitely more than we were eating, and so before we started selling at the market and actually trying to make back some of the money we were spending on the chickens, we were just giving away our extra eggs to friends and family. And that was the first thing that made us feel really good about what we were doing. That may sound silly if you're a long-term homesteader and that's always been a part of your life, but to go out, get the fresh eggs, and be able to eat them immediately or deliver them to friends and family was a totally amazing feeling for both my husband and I, who had no experience in that. And I'm gonna tell you, that's never gotten old. Okay, so that's all 5 things, but I wanna give you a bonus one: coffee grinds. So we recycle our own here and we use them in the compost or on the garden directly. And you know how at work there's often like a commercial grade coffee maker? Well, at the place that Eric works, they save the coffee for him. I think starting a small farm or homesteading can sometimes seem financially overwhelming if you don't plan things out, if you don't spread things out, how you're going to do them, and if you don't think about the things that you could be recycling or reusing that other people are already getting rid of. A lot of our friends and family are not really into homesteading, or they're not really into growing their own food on a large scale. We do have some friends that are into that, and I hope that more and more people will start to do that as time goes on. That being said, if for the time being they're just getting rid of those things, you know, most people are happy and excited to be able to contribute something to a friend's space or project or dream. So it might seem awkward at first to be driving away with pallets and newspapers, but really you're just fueling your dreams in a sustainable way. And I think that's pretty awesome. If you are a longtime homesteader, I'd love to hear the other things that you're currently recycling for your friends and family on your farm. If you're new to homesteading, I hope this video was helpful, and it'll help you just think outside of the box of other things that you could reuse or recycle on your homestead. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you'll come back to this channel and subscribe so that you can follow along in the latest happenings at Little Z Farm and watch more videos like this one, tips and tricks as we grow our own homestead. I'll talk to you all soon. See you next time.